first meaningful thing I did as a woman had nothing to do with animal rights. About 2.5 years ago, I went to a vigil just a little bit down the road for a young girl who was stabbed to death in Manchester. And when I went to that, I was a 1-month-old trans baby. I knew nothing about activism. I knew nothing about protests. I knew nothing about vigils. I knew nothing about being trans. I knew fuck all. But I went there and I saw a bunch of, very, very assertive trans people. They weren't trying to pass. They weren't trying to conform. They were just existing very, very, very loudly. And I realized that it doesn't matter how much I pass. There's a small chance, no matter how pretty I am, no matter how much I pass, no matter how much I blend in, that I might get stabbed to death in a park. So I decided to not fucking pass. I decided to be really loud and really visible and just assert myself on the world wherever I went. But I never really found it into trans activism. About 2-3 weeks later, I went and I did animal rights activism in the centre of Leeds. And I was like, fuck, I can talk to people every single weekend on the street about things that I care about. This is amazing. And then I did it every single weekend. I've probably talked to tens of thousands of people looking like this. I've been naked in the street multiple times. I was tortured in a cage last weekend. I have hung banners over motorways. I've raided AGMs. I've done lots of things. And I think they've been meaningful. I did it all as a trans woman, thinking if I do all this stuff dressed like this, I'll make trans lives better. And I think I did, but only within a very, very small section of society, only within the animal rights movement. And it did succeed. Like, I'm now invited to speak at conferences looking like this. I've had conversations with international organisations about how they treat trans people within the animal rights movement, and loads of smaller ones as well. But whenever it was, time's hard at the minute. Whenever it was, the other day, I realised that that's not really enough. Me existing like this visibly and talking about other things isn't protecting trans people and isn't promoting our rights. In the last 2.5 years, I've done all these things for animals, but I've only been to about 4 or 5 protests for trans people. And that's just not enough. So I've come here today to say, look, I know how to protest. I'm fucking great at it, right? But I don't know what I'm supposed to do, right? I don't know who I'm supposed to make do what they're supposed to do. So I've invited a bunch of people who I think do know what we're supposed to do. And I'd like to invite them to help me build a movement where we can actively and consistently campaign for our rights. Because in Leeds we have loads of support groups and they're fucking amazing. But support groups will only keep us alive and will only keep us safe. Whilst there are billionaires and millionaires campaigning for our existence and our rights to be destroyed, we need more than to be alive. We need more than to survive. We need to combine our allies. We need to get them in a single organised group, and we need to push for what we believe in. Because they keep saying because they keep telling us there's a trans agenda, but I've not seen it. And frankly, we fucking need one, right? So let's stop getting accused of having a trans agenda and let's fucking build one.